Here's how to grow your business profitably with AI-powered marketing engines. Hi, my name is Matt Bellmann, and in this part of a series, I will show you what the first and most important step is to make the first dollar, then to crack 6 figures, 7 figures, and then 8 figures profitably. And with that, I generated more than 60. Okay, it says 50, but it's now 60. All right, let's say 50, but it's 60. You know it, right? So here's how I generated more than $50 million on social media without showing my face. Before I show the exact steps, here's some more proof. We have nearly 1,700 4.5 star reviews on Trustpilot. We are one of the fastest growing companies in the US and made it on the Inc. 5000. And my co-founder got named Forbes 30 under 30. I did not because I'm too fucking old. Okay. That's the story of my life. We are also the #1 mobile app builder for the creator economy, and we make more than 60% of our revenue in the US with thousands of customers and millions of users without me even being in the US. Awesome. So let's look at what's behind these awards and how you can do the same. Let's go. So how to grow to $10 million profitably with AI-powered marketing engine. So this here's a Figma or FigJam, fine. We start here where it says start here. And then from there, we will go all the way through all the different steps that you need to do to, in the end, build first a growth engine, then to hit 100K a month, then to have an attention engine that you get all the eyeballs out there, which is hard when everyone is competing for attention, then how to scale this thing up to 8 figures profitably with a funnel that makes sense for you. And then in the end, put the operations in place so that you don't have to hire hundreds of people and that you can work on the business, not in the business. And with that, you will hit 8 figures in revenue profitably and you will have a $100 million enterprise value. You can sell the company and live the good life on Jamaica. Okay, Jamaica, I don't know. Jamaica is actually pretty nice. You can also go to Argentina or Mauritius, Maldives. If you don't like the warmth, you can also go to Scandinavia or just come to Europe. Just live in Europe. Europe is amazing. Awesome. Good. So let's go. That's the map how you get to Europe profitably. Let's say this. That's how you make your dreams a reality. Okay? Whatever you want to buy with it. You can also just donate the whole money to charity. That's fine. Do it the Bill Gates way. I love that. Please. Okay, so here's where you start. I will also share the biggest green flags and the biggest red flags so that when you are on this journey, as I was a couple of years ago, you're not making the same mistakes and you can do everything so much faster. 4 containers. Container 1 is the core. Container 2, the marketing engines. Container 3, the scaling engines. Container 4, the performance engines. And every container is structured in these 3 sections. So what are the core questions that you need to ask yourself? What are the key actions that you need to do in order to succeed? And what are the key tools that you should use to make your life so much easier? And then I have this litmus test here in the end, this question where you should then have, for example, clients, you should have achieved something. If not, you have not graduated from this container and you should go back to square one and do the whole thing again. Because the biggest mistake is that you already think you have a great offer, that everything is great because you love your product. You spend years on it. The answer is it's not what your customer or ideal client thinks. That's why they buy with your competitors right now. That's the truth. So the mistake is, hey, I have a great offer. I don't need this. I go straight to marketing. Let's post some content. Content is the thing. If I post content and everything will be great, that's the missing piece. Once I have posted content, I will make gazillions. Problem is no one engages with your content and your offer is shit. No one will buy in the end. It's not going to work. Okay, good. Perfect. Let's just dive in. Who is your ideal customer? That's the first big pillar. And the questions that you should ask yourself is, who are your ideal 100 clients? And to double click on that, it is really important that you disqualify everyone else. Big mistake is you want to sell to everyone, right? Everyone that would be down to wire you money, perfect. That's such a mistake. It will not work for a couple of reasons. One is they will become unhappy and leave in the end. They will talk bad about you. You hate working with them. It's just a shit show. So yes, they bought, you convinced them, but it's a shit show. So work backwards. Who are your ideal clients that you want to serve? A little hint here. If they are affluent, meaning they have money, that's good because they can invest that money and they don't have to go into debt. So you know the saying, go where the money is, okay? What are their challenges? What are their goals? And who do they trust? These are 3 more key questions. So what's your action? You do 25 true path interviews. If you're one of the people I work with, you know what a true path interview is. Simply speaking, you do something which was invented by Teresa or Rebecca Torres. I always mess mess up her name, continuous discovery habits. You really figure out what is going on your customer side by asking them what really happened, not what they think. If you're interested, I can share playbooks, interview playbooks, templates, Figma for how to do these interviews, what to talk about, how to systemize it, how to identify the best, the ideal clients, how to map their experiences, if they're good, bad, and how to derive a problem tree, I call it. And these are also the tools. The interview playbook, which helps you to not fuck up the interviews. Then the experience map, where you exactly see what's really happening and what works and what doesn't. There's always opportunities. You always think that, I know everything is perfect, there's no space and nothing. I can tell you, even 50 years from now, it doesn't matter like what point in time, the moment when you go into customer interviews and talk to them, there is so much opportunity, it's ridiculous. It's rather a challenge to focus on the right thing than to be concerned that you might not find something because everything is perfect. They always say it's perfect when you ask them initially, but if you go deep with the right questions, even the big brands, small brands, doesn't matter. It's just a shit show. Okay, once you have identified who your ideal customers are, what their challenges are, their goals are, and who they trust, you have to create an identity which is magnetic to them. So that means that once they stumble upon you, let's say the hot blonde at the bar. Okay, that's maybe not, what is it? That's maybe not LGBTQ conform. I don't care. But let's say this. Who do they find attractive? You want to be that person. So the question therefore is, what problem of all these problems that you found out from in speaking to them, what problem are you fixing? Where are you, based on your own story of the last decades, qualified to help them go from A to B? And what makes you trustworthy? What proves that you can do it, that you are the right person? Here's what most people think. They say, oh, I don't have any skill. I have never learned anything. I know everything a little bit, but I don't have a really specific skill. Well, that might be true, and you can build out that skill by literally doing a week of full steam, diving deep into the topic, and you will already be ahead of 99.99% of everyone else. You already actually have something inside you that you can share, but you have to unpeel that onion and figure out what did you complete over the last, like since you were born, that actually would be of value for people. I mean, obviously, you couldn't talk, you couldn't walk, you couldn't survive, but today you can. So you achieved apparently something which you were not able 20 or 30, 40 years ago. Why am I making it so explicit? Because we all have our own story and we solved it already, and that makes it then authentic. Because if you're not aware of your own story, you will likely fix something which you have not done before. That makes it unauthentic, and then you feel like fluke or imposter. That won't happen if you unpeel your onion and you know what you stand for. What makes you trustworthy, where quite often your story. In my case, I made 8 figures profitably on social media without showing my face. Most people raise funds or not making money, and then the company failed. So I can share that, what I learned on that journey and how I did it. And I can show all these awards, Inc. 5000, 7, 8, 9-figure awards. And then what makes you exciting? What makes you exciting is important because today people want to be entertained and people want to be sucked in. They want to binge watch you. They want to binge listen to you. They want to binge everything. Or let's say they're looking for someone that is binge worthy, and you need to be that person. So if you're boring, it's not going to happen. Therefore, what are the key actions? You want to identify the supply-demand gap. Okay, that sounds very businessy. What you essentially do is you look at the problem tree that you have of all the problems, and so far you have not looked at any solutions. You have been very deep on the problem side, and you think, okay, with all these problems, what is something that I can serve them for? And you identify that, and you derive from there your unique value proposition that puts you in a category of one without any competition. That can be you as a person, as a coach, but it can also be your company. So you as a company, you never want to be in crazy competition, because if you're comparable, that means it's a race to the bottom and there's always a cheaper company out there, and then you will not make any money anymore. So what is it about you that makes you unique so that no one can get around you? I suggest to do a business Ikigai. What's an Ikigai? It's the Venn diagram of what you love, what the world needs, what you can be paid for, and what you're good at. And you do that for your business. And that in the end will keep you and will keep everyone in the team also excited to do this for the long run. Then you put everything together on the one-pager that makes you this unique person with this unique message that an affluent customer with really big problems will listen to, because that's how you derive that, right? Okay, good. Next one, irresistible offer. Question is, what offer, based on the problems that they're having and based on your magnetic identity, because you are very aspirational for them and very desirable, what offer would you show them that will elicit a burning desire in them? And here you define your offer and your pitch, how to present it. You need your origin story, origin hook. You need the internal and external beliefs of your ideal clients, and then also the hooks to break them. And the map, aka the offer, the proven process that brings them from A to B to transform them into the next stage. And that is usually priceless, and therefore it has a very high perceived value. And with this high perceived value, you can then charge a great price that will still feel like a steal. Good. So the tools that you can use is Irresistible Offer Engine. I have another video on that, so just watch that video. The pricing playbook, I just give you the TLDR on the pricing playbook. A perceived value where the dream outcome is awesome, so is priceless. The likelihood to get there, the success chance as high as possible, also called the value equation from Alex Hormozi. Okay. And on the denominator, you have how much time is required to get there and how much effort. So if you show them amazing outcome, super likely, almost no effort, and very quick, it's a really high perceived value. And let's say then you quantify that value. But when I say you come up if it's 100K, means you have to validate that with your ideal client. For them, it has to feel like, yeah, I'm easy 100K, likely 200. Maybe 500 in their case, maybe $1 million. But they have to believe that this thing is worth 100 or whatever you come up with, right? In terms of value. But it has to resonate and be confirmed by the client that this is the case. And then you take 90% discount on that. So if it's 100 grand, you're going to sell it for $10,000. Okay, sell it for 9,997. That makes it a steal. Then add some urgency and scarcity on top. And then you have an irresistible offer with a great price. Okay, value ladder. Let's do this. I touch upon that later when we talk about the profitable funnel. So stay in the video if you want to see that. And another one, which is really good to just convert better right now, there is UAI, which is the tool that we are building and using ourselves right now. It's really cool. Let me show you. So it allows you to grow your revenue with UAI. You can put this on top of your courses, and it helps you to convert and retain your clients better. This is UAI. It can also be in your own app, and it knows all the content of your courses, coaching calls, and whatever context you have provided. Yeah, this is going to be updated soon. This is how it works. You just choose your branding, you train your voice, and then you can use it on top of your content. And it will help you to stop losing students, because courses are essentially that, right? Only 4% of your students complete and succeed, even less than that. You have more and more competition that have carbon copies of your course. Then people, they're overwhelmed and they don't believe that this is the course. That's the number one concern. They don't believe will this really help me? Then you could help them if you would be available, but you're not. And you have your course, right? And in the end, clients are overwhelmed with content and weekly calls. So yeah, the AI coach comes in. You can scale your one-on-one coaching, more time for you, convert, retain better premium pricing. You're different than the competitors. Think what Hormozi did with his book launch recently. He said, hey, all the books, all the sessions, all the workshops, everything that he has ever done is context in this AI coach. Just ask a question and get the answer. Okay. Yeah. So that's what this enables you. You don't have to build it yourself. You can use this one. And with that, you can also scale your client results. They're not overwhelmed by content anymore. You can scale yourself instead of hiring an army of people that are not delivering the service as you would. And that 24/7, fully tailored, and you hold them accountable. Awesome. I'm not going to bore you with all the details, but if this is interesting, just check it out. Awesome. Let's keep on hustling. Once you have that completed, so you have clarity on your ideal customer, your magnetic identity, and your irresistible offer, that means you have a growth engine in place. That's the foundation for everything. That's that strong offer, which is proven in the market because you've spoken to customers. And oh, I forgot about this. So after you have defined your offer and pitch, you're going to test that obviously with the people that you interviewed here or people that are your ideal customers or prospects. And what you do here is the biggest mistake, the biggest red flag that I see people doing is that they sell this like, hey, in this you get this and that, and then that, and that, and that's the price. That's not how you do it. If you ask for money, you get advice. If you ask for advice, you get money twice. So you want to get feedback on this thing that you just came up with by asking for advice, asking them to co-create this offer. Then at some point they will say, actually, I want this. Can you do this for me? And you're like, yeah, I just had other people asking me the same question. I can only do it with 5 people right now. And then you get your first 5 clients with that. You want to get testimonial interviews as quickly as possible because they will help your growth engine to convert so much better. So always do testimonial interviews. Quite often, if you run an existing business, the thing that you are selling here, your offer, which is not your product, by the way, obviously, right? Look, let's say this is a product. This is an Apple Pencil Pro. The offer is whatever this is, $97. And it is, I don't know, charged within minutes or whatnot. So what's the offer that in the end elicits a burning desire? Yeah, how did we get there? I don't recall, but you do these interviews and with that you get so much proof that you have now something which you know you can sell. sell. You have made your first dollars because the first customers converted. Now, what is really interesting is that if you're selling a high ticket offer, B2B high ticket, which is more than 10K a month, and you urgently need money because for what reason you just want to get more proof, you have already sold your first one, maybe with a slight discount, maybe it was just below 10K, but you can sell it for 10K a month or more. Then what I suggest, build an outbound sales engine right away to make 100K a month, and you're on the 7-figure run rate. If you have an existing business selling low ticket and you're now going into high ticket, do the same thing, because you will crack 7 figures. That will give you funds to reinvest, and it will prove in the team and everywhere that this is awesome. So you do the same thing as before, double down on who are the ideal clients. I just put this here and again because it is not always obvious. When you have here your 100 ideal clients, you think these are your 100 ideal clients. Then you do true breath interviews. You realize, okay, there's actually a subset, and then there's another subset. This type of customer has different problems than this type of customer. And then you double down on certain thing. And then you only pitched to a certain subset your new offer. Okay. So these 100 is very likely different to these 100 once you're here. For that reason, review who are your ideal 100 clients. Do the same exercise again. And the important thing here is 10 touch points per day, because what you need is 10 clients. 10 times 10K or more a month, and that's 100K, right? So you don't need a lot of clients. You don't need to do 200 calls like the crazy auto dialer outreach with long lead lists and whatnot. Do 10 qualified touch points as personalized as possible through introductions, through providing value. Just go above and beyond and deliver so much value that it hurts. First one was Ed from Barstars back then. We were selling, I'm trying to get this influencer with millions of followers to work with us to launch a workout program, which made 6 figures. First thing that we sold was amazing. I asked him, why did you decide to go for it and work with us? And he said that he is being approached by dozens of people every single day, obviously. I was providing value, and more value without trying to do anything. Just like I was just providing unconditional value. So whatever you have or whatever you sell, don't hold anything back. Provide as much value as you can unconditionally. Shoot all of your guns. It's the most important thing. And then in the end, you will get your 10 clients. You, of course, have to have a really strong outreach script. How do you reach out? What's the hook, the angle that people are listening and not ignoring you? And then you want to discover and qualify them if they're really the right customers. And you are like a doctor prescribing medicine. If someone has, let's say, a cold and needs to go to a conference tomorrow and pitch, you're going to prescribe them something that pushes them up so that they can do their stage talk. If they do not go on stage the next day, if they do not have a cold, you are not prescribing anyone anything, okay? So that also makes you discerning. That makes you confident, because you're not selling everything to anyone, which is what most people do, and this is plain wrong. Again, big red flag, green flag. They have to qualify for your thing. If they do not qualify, if they're not meeting all the things that they need to meet, you tell them, thank you so much. You know someone that could be a fit here. So you ask for a referral. Otherwise, you end the call. You're not selling to this person. That makes you discerning. So that's what goes on in discovery. And then in the sales call, you work with them on the thing that will make them 10x the value. So as we already spoke about this, you identify the thing that will make them 10x the value of what your price is. And once they are 10 of 10 hot, that this is the right thing, 10 of 10 think that you're the right coach, and 10 of 10 think that this is the right timing and they need to do this now, then perfect. Then you drop the offer and then you convert, and it will feel very natural. With that, you hit 100K a month, then you will have 10 clients. Once you have 10 clients, go over to the marketing engines. If you're not selling high ticket, more than 10K a month, and it's not crazy urgent, but you have now your offer defined, you already made your first dollar, you now want to build something scalable and massive, because this year is quite a lot of work for $1 million. We want to make 8 figures, and we want to create enterprise value so that the companies have 100 million plus. So with that, this year is the focus. It's nice, it's good, but if you have an existing business and $1 million doesn't really move any needle and you want to make it scalable, that's why I would just go straight here. This is only if you sell high ticket and you need the money. Okay, perfect. So here you now only proceed if you have 5 clients. Why 5? Why not 1? Because 1 is not relevant. 25 is too many. 3, I would say there's always something special happening where the 3 are all different. You don't see the patterns yet. Just go with 5. With 5, you will definitely make 4 figures minimum, even if you sell mid-ticket. Even if you sell low ticket, you should hit 4 figures. You sell it anyway. You just make 4 figures here. And that gives you this feeling of awesome. There is something. Once you know who you are as a brand, the next step is learning how to get the world's attention. And that's what we will cover in the next video.